Okay, I'm currently in Minneapolis, or a suburb of Minneapolis, about to eat breakfast, but I'm a little bit, what's the word, perturbed. I need to figure out how not to, or how to avoid draws. Well, I mean, I know how to avoid draws, but something in my preparation needs to change so that I can avoid draws in the future. Maybe play sharper, something like that. But I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out over some like scrambled eggs and sausage. Yeah. Alright, today I am showing my super awesome London game. Now, why I would show quick games like these when I'm not such a great quick chess player. Well, the reason is because this game was a 100%er. Yes, it was the perfect game. It is a demonstration of how effective one can be when one has a well thought out strategy. So we start off with d4. My opponent wanted to play solid, so he chose the QGD, not thinking that I had something prepared up my sleeve. I think it went like this. The move order might be a little funky, but in the end, it'll all make sense. c3, this whole knight to c6, knight to d2. I think you're supposed to be a little bit flexible with your light squared bishop. Sometimes the bishop comes to d3, other times the bishop comes to b5. Why, I can explain, but that shall be shared for another moment in another post. You see, I think I might be swinging towards putting the London deep, or giving the London priority in my offensive repertoire. You see, when I realized something, and I've realized this for a long time, that if I play e6 and d5 as my defense is against the queen's pawn and the king's pawn, then would it make sense for me to adopt that strategy, or at least a more efficient version of it, by just playing d4 in my first move? At least that's what I think. And as I thought about this, it occurred to me that I tend to get very good results when I play d4 as my first move. And I do like the variety of what I could choose from when I play d4. So I mean, I'm really gonna flex this repertoire in the this weekend. I will be flexing my repertoire against some very high-rated chess players, but we'll see. This game really made me feel good. So he went bishop to d6, and I dropped the bishop back to g3 in the hopes that if it were to take, I could recapture with my a pawn, and I would get to save time not having to develop my rook. My rook would just be pressuring the h7 pawn. So no surprises there. He chose not. He simply castled his king. I played bishop to d3, and he went for the main line with b6. So I knew, and I've done a little bit of work here, I think I'm even playing a correspondence game featuring lines similar to this. So b6 is played. I brought my queen to e2, and I think I'm supposed to do all this because my overall goal, or the most ambitious try for an advantage, is to quickly prepare the move e4, e5. If I can get e5 in, then I have a structural advantage on the king side, and I have tremendous attacking chances. Who wouldn't want that? And to make matters even better, after he plays, say, a move like bishop e7, if I take my rook and I bring it to d1, then when I start breaking open the center, the rook will conveniently be placed on a file that will likely be forced open. As we're about to see, my opponent's next move was an inaccuracy. It actually was, yes, it was knight to e7. Not a commonly played move, but it does make a lot of sense. Usually black's idea is to take this knight, bring it to f5, drop the bishop back to e7, and then bring that same knight from f5 to d6, all for the sake of trying to maximize his coverage of the e4 square. Unfortunately for him, this is all woefully short. So I played e4. He decided that he would like to capture. So as the magic is happening, all this is kind of prepared. At least I know how I'm punishing him. It looks good for me. So after takes on e4, he traded off his knight, I traded off my bishop, and he tossed in this little in-between move. I think his position is just, what's the word? Unsalvageable, or it can't be saved, whatever the case. Conveniently, my rook is placed on the d file, and now threats of taking on c5 and opening that file against his bishop and queen is, he's flustered. So what he decides to do is remove that threat, maybe at a cost of a pawn. But unfortunately for him, I had a pause here, and I didn't want to immediately take back on g3. I was actually considering the possibility of taking on h7 and then taking on g3 with the discovered check. But unfortunately for me, I didn't see any possible checkmate there. So what I ended up settling for was taking the bishop, because I knew that at least I would be picking up the exchange. He didn't want any part of that, so he settled for worse. He went rook b8, I decided to take, and then after he took here, I could have gone for the easy discovery attack on the queen. Pawn takes on c5 would win me a pawn, but I saw a tactical motif that everybody would also see. It is queen to e4. And at the side of this move, queen to e4, he decided he's had enough. And there we go. You see, after that game, I had to quickly click the accuracy button because I knew I'm going to be scoring over a 90. And what I didn't know is that I scored a 100%. Nice.